Is Tamara here?
Junk food supper.
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 Junk food
Junk
supper.
food supper.
Junk food supper.
Junk food supper.
Junk food supper.
Junk food supper.
Welcome to Junk Food Supper. This is the podcast that you can sometimes listen to on the internet where pretty much anytime we can, we get together to talk about weird movies and silly movies, goofy movies, spooky movies, things like that. I am Parker. I am joined by Sean Byron in LA. How are you, Sean Byron?
I'm doing better this week, Bowman, because I feel like, as we record now, it's October 23rd, 2024, and I can feel it in the air. Our long national nightmare is almost over.
You mean archive.org being down?
That's presumably what I mean, yeah. Archive.org being down has been quite a national nightmare. No, I'm speaking of the Severance Season 2 trailer hitting the internet today and, giving us a little tease before the January debut.
I have not watched it. Does it look good?
No, it looks awful. I think you're going to hate it.
Seriously?
Yeah, they've recast everybody. Adam Scott's not in it anymore. Now it's about a journey to the center of the earth.
No.
It's mostly about a goose.
For a minute there, you had me, because I feel like it's been so long between seasons that they probably will have to recast everybody soon, because they're just going to be all too old to play the same roles at some point.
That is a concern. You would think that might happen, especially with some of these older actors. I mean, Chris Walken is getting up there, and it's been, I think, 3 years. So hopefully, they do have a plan to crank out more of this more quickly, but I get that this stuff takes a long time to make, especially when there's a pandemic.
Yeah, there's a pandemic and a strike, and also I think Apple's just unprepared to host a successful streaming service. I think that's part of it.
Yeah. Well, I thought it looked good though. There are new cast members that they show off in the trailer, and the whole thing is only 90 seconds, and I feel like only 30 seconds of it is new footage, but anything I can get on Severance right now is very tantalizing to me.
Yeah, I really like that first season, but I don't know, I'm just I'm not very excited for season 2, partly because I was underwhelmed with the season finale, which we've talked about, and then also partly because it's been so long. It's they really pull the rug out from under you here with these super long waits between seasons.
Yeah, but in a sense, that maybe makes it perfect for a rewatch before season 2 starts. It's been long enough that you can probably fully, enjoy a rewatch and, remember some of the things that you saw the first time around, such that it's going to be more of an impactful experience,
That is true. It's actually been so long since I watched the first season that it was before I started using Serialized, so I have not logged any of the episodes on that website. So
it's almost as if you've never watched it then.
That's pretty much how I feel now that I'm constantly logging everything on the internet between Serialized and Letterboxd and Goodreads. I'm just logging everything I've ever consumed. I feel like a character on Severance to some degree.
Yeah, you're looking at all these scary numbers all day long. Is it a 4.5 or is it a 4?
It is a lot like that. Yeah.
What's next in terms of logging? Is there something that you wish you had the ability to log? There was that Crate. You remember Crate? People, I think mostly just you were, logging their record listening, briefly.
Yeah, I think I was pretty much the only person on that website or app or whatever it was. But yeah, I thought that was fun. It gave me a fun reason to just go through all my favorite bands and listen to all their records all in a row and then rate them,
Yeah.
So that was kind of fun, but I did that for kind of a while. I think I did that for a year. I went through all my favorite bands, and then after I got through like all my favorite bands. I was like, well, there's nothing left to do on this website, so I guess I'm done. Like, I'm not going to do this with bands I just sort of like. So, but yeah, that was fun. But yeah, I don't know what the ultimate, I mean, I guess the ultimate thing is movies. Cause I mean,
that's the only thing that really matters, right?
It's the only thing that matters. It's like the perfect length because like logging TV shows on serialized is like, if you do every single episode, it's a little tedious. And then, you know, if you're doing good reads, but if, you know, like me, I only read like a book a month or something like that, or like 2 books a month. So it's like not a lot, but Letterboxd, it's perfect. It's the perfect amount. You can watch 1 movie a day, 2 movies a day. That's the perfect amount of logging. Not too much, not too little.
Yeah. I feel like I've been messing around with logging my wrestling watching this year, and there is a website that's kind of designed for it. There's a site, cagematch.net, which is like a database of every wrestling event in history. And it's really useful, you know, because it's like an IMDb for wrestling, basically, where each event you can click on a wrestler's name, see all the events they've ever been to, etc. Really useful site, but they've also got like all these policies and guidelines about like interacting with the site. So like you have to comment on a certain percentage of your ratings, and they've got all these rules about like how in depth you can speak to a match, and it's got to be written in, you know, proper English and all. And it's just like, what a nightmare. Like, and then if you don't play by the rules, I guess you get banned from their site or whatever. And so rather than log my shit through there and risk being banned someday and have all my ratings be deleted, I've just been doing it myself in the most elaborate spreadsheet I've ever devised. So if you think that big spreadsheet that we use to track JFD stuff is insane, you should see my wrestling rating spreadsheet.
I actually do think that would be fun to look at that spreadsheet.
I'll send you a copy.
All right, I'll take a look at that.
Just don't overwrite any of my ratings. Don't start putting, 5 stars on all the Goldberg matches.
I'm bumping up all the Mick Foley matches, 0.5 stars.
Oh, that's fair. Well, I think you're going to find that 5.5 is not a valid rating then.
That's understandable then. Yeah, that would be fun. Like I kind of like, because you can log wrestling on Letterboxd and serialized, but it's like, wrestling is like it's not a movie for sure. And it's mostly not a TV show. So I've never really felt comfortable doing that. But I think logging, and also I don't really watch a ton of wrestling, but logging wrestling would be fun.
I think it makes sense on a match level. Doing an entire event maybe is sort of meaningless. If it's an event where there's like 2 great matches and a bunch of crap, then it's like, how do you even rate that? And what does that even mean? But within the context of a single match, I think you can say this is a 5-star match or whatever.
Yeah, that would be the way to do it. Yeah, you would have to go match by match.
Yeah, well, take some notes based on my spreadsheet, and you too could be logging and rating all the wrestling that you consume.
Okay, maybe I will. But you keeping up with Letterboxd and serialized?
Serialized, not really. I like the idea of it, but it is that issue of like it's kind of annoying after every episode of a TV show to open an app and do something when I would rather just start the next episode or do something else, like every 30 minutes. That's tough. Letterboxd, I've been trying to keep up. But it's a similar thing where sometimes it's just like, movie's over. I'm moving on. I don't even want to think about it anymore. But at the minimum, I'm trying to at least record that I saw something, like log it, if not rate it,
Yeah.
It's tough though.
It is. Every once in a while, I'll find that I'm like pretty compulsive about logging everything, but every once in a while I'll find that I didn't log something. Like Letterboxd was telling me, because like they have like this little thing that tells you like all the franchises that you've almost seen all of, and it was like, hey, you haven't seen all the Insidious movies, you've only watched 4 out of 5 of them. And I was like, well, all right, it's Halloween, I'll finish out the franchise. And then like halfway through this like Insidious Part 5, I realized that I had watched it like when it came out and it just sucked. So it's disheartening when I find out that I have to rewatch a shitty movie because I didn't log it.
Yeah, and then that's just complete waste of time at that point to watch a movie twice.
Yeah.
Who would ever do such a thing?
Terrible.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned Insidious because Insidious was represented in one of the mazes at the Universal Halloween Horror Nights that I just attended.
Oh, I'm pretty envious of this. I would have liked to have gone this year. How was it?
It was a fun time. I'll give you a quick rundown, I guess, because it's been a while since I had been. Me and the wife have been going, intermittently. We don't go every year, but we've been enjoying it for a long ass time now. I feel like, I don't know, since probably 2008 or something, we've been going. And this year, I don't know, it had been a while. We haven't been since probably with you, I think, in like 2018 or something was probably the last time. So It was high time, and we did the day night combo thing where you can get into the park after 2 p.m. and enjoy the daytime stuff as well as the nighttime stuff, because we still hadn't seen, not only had we not seen Nintendo Land, but we had still not seen Harry Potter Land, which has been there, I think, for like a decade now.
Yeah. I think last time we were there, like Jennifer wanted to go to Harry Potter Land. I think it was open by then, and I was just like, no, we're not. Sorry to break this to you, but we're not doing Harry Potter. I want to see the monsters, and I want to see the Simpsons, and I don't care about Harry Potter.
Yeah, well, it's, I kind of had the same stance for a while, even though I kind of like Harry Potter. I've got some affection for Harry Potter and that universe, but I had always heard that the rides were not that cool and that it was kind of crowded. And for years, it did seem like it was kind of crowded and tough to get in there. And same thing with Nintendo Land was like, I'll get around to it eventually. And I think for the most part, I made the right call on both of those, especially Nintendo Land, I think was pretty underwhelming, I'm sad to say, as a lifelong Nintendo fan. But it was cool to walk around Hogwarts and all the Harry Potter stuff. Thematically was pretty cool. And then, then we did the Horror Nights. Insidious was the first maze that we did, actually. And I've never seen any of these movies. So I guess the only way that I can describe the maze experience is you walk through some corridors, and then about every 15 seconds, the Insidious guy pops out. You know this Insidious guy?
The guy who kind of looks like Darth Maul?
Yeah, kind of like a Darth Maul, I guess, like a demon face type of a dude.
Yeah. That's Insidious guy. That's what they call him. That's kind of how he is in the movies too. Like, none of the movies are about him, but he just kind of pops up every once in a while.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so then I guess the maze was true to him. I was a little bit surprised at like how much fanfare there was for this maze. This seemed to be the maze that everybody was excited for. It had the longest line throughout most of the night. And that was despite the fact that they like tucked it away in the most inconvenient corner of Universal Studios Hollywood. And this is a thing that I think is getting worse and worse every year is it, and not to sound like an old man, but it used to be you use the theme park for Halloween Horror Nights. Now they're just doing all this weird stuff where they're like, oh yeah, there's a tiny plot of land. If you walk 3 miles past like 16 sound stages, we'll squeeze a little maze in back there. And it's like, why are you doing this to anybody? It doesn't make any sense to me. And so they did that with Insidious. We had to walk for fucking ever. I think we actually walked 8 miles in total throughout the night. And then it was just kind of like, all right, it's fine. I guess maybe if I had seen the movies, I would have liked it more.
Yeah, some of the movies are good. They're fine. But yeah, people love them. So that makes sense, I guess, that they would be very popular.
Yeah. It seemed like it, people were screaming and enjoying themselves. Kind of nearby to there was the Ghostbusters Frozen Empire maze, which I haven't seen the new Ghostbusters, but of course I've seen those original too. And I will say one thing about this maze really impressed me was it starts off with a scene that you walk into that features a very good Dan Aykroyd impersonator who's doing his line. He looks more like Dan Aykroyd, I guess, in like his maybe early 40s or something, not current day Dan Aykroyd, but looked like a Dan Aykroyd. And he's doing his line, on the loop, because it's like a tape loop or whatever that's playing. And it really did make me think, like, I wonder what this guy's path was to this role, because he had some level of talent. Like, I believed him as an actor, but who would sign up for this job where you're repeating the same single line of dialogue? It was like probably 8 words in total. You take a beat, of a second, and then you repeat it again. I just can't imagine not going insane doing that job.
Yeah, that's all he was doing, is just saying the same thing over and over, like on a pedestal or something?
Yeah, basically it was set up where he's like behind a desk, and as you walk in, you're kind of looking at him because he's standing right there, and then a guy comes from behind you and attacks you, and he says, "Oh, look out, stop, don't attack these people," or whatever. And then he just keeps doing that over and over. I heard it probably 4 times in the short amount of time that I was walking past him. And it's like, again, not an untalented person, didn't seem to have a drug or gambling problem that I could, anticipate. So what are you doing here? Like, why would you spend your time doing this?
So he's even saying it multiple times while you're in the room, because
it's that thing where you shuffle kind of slowly. So I think probably their intent would be that you only hear it once, but it's, crowded as all hell, and we're just kind of shuffling.
Yeah. Yeah, that seems unbearable. Because, like, I've worked at a haunted house before, and generally, in my experience, like, you just do whatever gag you're doing the one time. Like, you try to plan it out so you do it, like, in the middle of the crew so everybody can kind of see it when they're coming in, and you just do it the once. And that's repetitive. So I can't imagine doing what this guy's doing.
Yeah, I mean, it was insane. And I hope that he survived, his Halloween Horror Nights experience without, jumping off that giant escalator between levels.
That escalator itself is pretty scary.
I love that escalator. I'm not going to lie. Going up and down that escalator was one of the highlights of the night for me, despite the fact that there's absolutely no theming. And that's a problem here at Universal Halloween Horror Nights. You guys got to theme the grounds in between. That's a thing that they used to do really well, and I feel like it's fallen by the wayside. Used to go down that escalator, and they'd be playing spooky music. Maybe it would be a Welcome to the Jungle or something. And there would be, or even maybe the Halloween theme, and there would be, I think, at least like 1 or 2 scare actors in those little platforms between the giant escalators. Now it's just hot dog salesmen. And don't get me wrong, I value a hot dog salesman, but we could have both.
Yeah. I think maybe one of the years we went, they had spooky stuff on that escalator, but not the other year. It's like maybe somebody got like really scared and fell down or something. So
yeah, it could be. We did see a scary structure fire from the escalator when we were going down. I think some building over by the Burbank airport went up, and so the whole San Fernando Valley was cloaked in black smoke as the sun set, which that was kind of spooky, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's definitely spooky. Pretty common spooky occurrence, though, in LA, I think.
Yeah. But, and it's all that much more scary for the fact of how common it is,
That's true. That's a good point.
It's the truly frightening aspect of it. But yeah, we made our way down that escalator, and then we saw the Texas Chainsaw maze, which I guess was my favorite in that I just love Texas Chainsaw. But this was the first maze where we noticed their new technique that I feel like they're really leaning into now this year, which is like, they've been doing these Halloween Horror Nights for a billion years, and they're looking for new ways to scare people. Mostly it just boils down to insidious guy jumps out from behind a corner. That's pretty much 99% of your scares. But in the Texas Chainsaw, what we noticed was they figured out, like, hey, what if a guy jumps out from behind a wall and everything smells like shit?
Mm-hmm.
That was and it was intentional, like they pumped in the smell of, I guess, rotting meat. And I want to say actual feces. I want to say that they blended in some feces. That's what it smelled like. And it was not a pleasant experience.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they've had that before when we've gone. And yeah, there's that room that's like in the first movie where it's just that room full of bones.
Yeah.
And it smelled like chickens and dead chickens. And
Yeah.
which is a very distinctive smell that you smell out here in the valley quite a bit. And yeah, that's the most interesting part of that maze I've noticed is just like how much it smells like horrible death.
It was not pleasant. And then they employed it later on in another maze. There were a couple rooms where characters were puking and the whole maze smells like vomit.
That's terrible.
It was not fun. And then
yeah, that doesn't sound that good.
No joke, I got tricked 3 separate times throughout the course of the evening where we're walking around the concourse in between mazes. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, what fucking maze is that? That smells awful. And then it was just porta potties baking in the sun, So they got to get that under control. But it was cool to see Leatherface. Then we went to the Weekend maze. I don't know anything about the Weekend. I'm not a teenager. But it was fine. I don't know. There's like a lot of mirrors. I like mirrors in a maze. That's kind of cool. They did a Universal Monsters maze. That was all right. It was cool. That was maybe my second favorite potentially. Or third favorite probably. But, just Universal Monsters running around. I guess it had a Slash soundtrack, speaking of Guns N' Roses.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't notice that until I just saw it right now on the listing here, but presumably I enjoyed that.
Well, he did it that time that we went. I think the last time we went, or I think maybe it was one of the times Kevin was out, they had a Universal Monsters maze and Slash did the soundtrack. So I wonder if they're just reusing that old score he did or if he's doing new ones.
Could be. Yeah, maybe they reused it. Either way, I mean, I didn't even hear it. So over all the shrieks that I was letting out, Other than that, there was a Death Valley themed maze, I guess. It's called Dead Exposure, Death Valley. And it was kind of like I think a Fallout type of situation, maybe not knowing anything about Fallout, but there was desert stuff and radiated people and stuff like that. And
that sounds fun.
It was kind of cool, actually, yeah. And then there was probably my second favorite was the Monstros 2, The Nightmares of Latin America. And I feel like they usually have one kind of, Latin-themed experience, and they're usually really good. Despite the fact that this one did not feature a actual chupacabra, it had some other kind of Latin America wolf guy that had some other name that reminded me of chupacabra. So that was, good enough for me.
That sounds fun. Yeah, I think one year they did the La Llorona, or however it would be pronounced. Yeah, that was a spooky one.
Yeah. So yeah, and that was our experience. We skipped a couple things because it was incredibly crowded. So we didn't do the Terror Tram this year. I kind of regret that. It was the Blumhouse Terror Tram. So maybe I wouldn't have loved it too much, but it is always fun getting close up to that Psycho house. And then there was a Quiet Place maze that we also skipped because the line was really long.
Yeah, that's probably for the best. You don't want that's where prime fighting takes place. You don't want to go in there.
Yeah. Well, I was all out of root beers. So couldn't possibly go in there. There was also a luchador themed scare zone in between some of the mazes that I thought was really cool. But I do have to say, and maybe this is just me getting older and being more crowd averse, but it was so crowded and not as themed as I wanted it to be. And I would have enjoyed, and I know that they put a lot of effort into these mazes and stuff, but I would have enjoyed a lot, a little bit more effort in keeping things spooky in between the mazes. But I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
Yeah. I feel like they were really good at that, like, the times we went. Like, there's that whole, like, first area when you first walk in that was, like, always, like, just monsters running around everywhere and, like, go-go dancers and, like, very loud Rob Zombie music and stuff like that. And then, like, it kind of chilled out once you got to, like, the Simpsons area and, like, like where the shops are and stuff. And then once you got down past the escalators, it was, like by Jurassic Park, it was just on again with monsters running around. So yeah, I feel like it used to be pretty themed out. That's a bummer because that's like kind of like kind of the best part because the mazes, you wait in line for like 2.5 hours and then you get to do like a 15-minute maze and they're spectacular and everything. But to get actual scares into your night, in a time effective way, that's the best way to do it is the in between stuff.
Yeah, well, and I hate to say it, but I think actually maybe Springfield was kind of the beginning of the end for like the fully immersive like in between zones because before they built that Springfield zone with all the Simpsons stuff, that whole area of the park was like kind of like nice and dark, and it was just like low-laying trees. And there was that, the Back to the Future ride was over there, but it was in like a very small building with not a lot of lights on it. And there was that Doc Brown's Fried Chicken Shack or whatever. But it kind of already looked like an area that you could just turn into a haunted house area. And a lot of the park used to look like that. And now it's all kind of, very heavily themed areas, so Springfield, it's always going to look like Springfield, even if you put a spooky ghost walking around it. And Hogwarts, I guess, is a little bit closer to something that you can make look like a haunted house, but it's still going to remind you of Harry Potter. So I kind of miss that old Universal, pre-Springfield, where it was just small buildings and just kind of nondescript walkways. And I guess I know why they did it, why they would prefer to have these outlandishly themed zones like a Nintendo zone, but I think you lose something.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure Disney will make them get rid of their Simpsons land at some point, so maybe it'll.
Yeah, I think that's actually on the books soon.
Oh,
people
okay.
are talking about. Yeah, the clock might be ticking for that.
Well, you can look forward to them bulldozing Pirates of the Caribbean or Mr. Toad's Wild Ride to fit Simpsons Land over at Disneyland.
I'm sure they'll just dig up Walt's corpse and put it, on his old burial site instead.
I think that's probably true, yeah. Well, speaking of burial sites.
Yeah, let's.
This Halloween, people can dress up in the corpse of Walt Disney if they want, and other such crazy costumes. And that's what we're going to be talking about here for the patented segment part of the show.
Oh.
Wow.
You don't like that segue?
I love the segue, and I love the segment. And I think we're doing a style of segment that it's been a little while since we've tackled, which is the classic bracket segment.
Yeah. Everybody loves a good brackets.
Yeah. Especially us. And especially when the brackets are populated with the top 32 Halloween costumes of the year 2024 as described by Google Trends. Whatever that is.
Yeah. So I assume this is people like Googling the costume because they want to wear it. And
no,
so
it's not people binging it, I'll tell you that much.
Well, yeah. But I mean, yeah, this is like not necessarily based on sales. It's based on people Googling the idea, I would think.
Yeah, I think it's purchase intent.
Yeah.
So
okay. That makes sense.
Do with that what you will. And I feel like I recognize most of these characters, but me being an old person, there might be a few of these that you have to explain to me.
There are a few that I also don't know. So
I guess we'll cross those bridges when we get to them. But the idea being we'll be, going through these brackets, these head-to-head matchups and determining what we think is the best costume for 2024. I want to make it clear it's not an all-time consideration. It's for this year, you know?
Yeah. So yeah, we'll take this current year into consideration.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, okay. So here in the first bracket, we've got our number 1 seed, Shrunken Head Bob from Beetlejuice, and Jack Skellington. So we got 2 Tim Burtons.
Oh yeah, that's kind of fun. Fun how that happened by accident.
Yeah. You have not, or did you see Beetlejuice? Have we talked about this?
I've not seen Beetlejuice, but Shrunken Head Bob, I'm assuming is that same shrunken head dude from the first Beetlejuice, right?
Yeah, it's that guy, but now he works for Beetlejuice, so he wears a suit, and that's the big difference, which makes him, I think, more charming, to be honest.
And probably an easier costume to obtain, right? If you can just use a regular suit for the clothing portion of it.
Yeah, well, I think it's a yellow suit, which might be a little bit tricky, but definitely,
tough.
Yeah, it's probably easier than whatever. Like he's wearing like a hunter suit or something in the first one. It's probably still easier than that.
Yeah, I think it was like a Livingston, I presume, type get up, right?
Yeah.
Got to be Shrunken Head Bob here. Sorry, Jack. I love Jack Skellington, but I feel like he's a perennial fave. He's going to get his time in the sunlight or the moonlight, as it were, sometime again in the future. But this might be Shrunken Head Bob's only chance.
Yeah, that's probably true until they do a third Beetlejuice, because this one did well. And yeah, I agree with you. I didn't really like that Beetlejuice movie, but I really do like this guy. He's very cute in the movie. He might be my favorite part.
All right, well, then it's settled. Shrunken Head Bob moves on.
Okay. Are you keeping track of these, or do you want me to?
Yeah, I'm keeping track.
Okay.
And in the next round, we've got Delia Dietz from the Beetlejuice movies. I presumably both, right?
Yep.
And Gambit from Deadpool and Wolverine. Should be an easy pick for me. I've got no association with the Deadpool and Wolverine movies. I don't even really know much about Deadpool, the comic character. He's a little bit kind of after my time of interest. But Delia Dietz, that's Winona Ryder, right?
Yep, that is correct.
We all like her in that movie. That's probably her best role, right? So I'm voting Delia Dietz. And maybe there could be a little room in here for an asterisk where it's Delia Dietz, the animated series version. And in that case, I mean, I think this is a winner.
Well, I don't think it's that, but that would be good. But yeah, I think Delia is the way to go here because it's a much more simple costume. Like I can't imagine how hard it would be to get a Gambit, like a comic book / movie facsimile version of Gambit together. I mean, unless maybe they sell them complete at a store, but
it's probably just one of those costumes where it's like a plastic sheet with, Gambit's colors printed onto it.
That could be. That would be a pretty good one, though. But yeah, otherwise you're going to have to get like the weird bodysuit, like the weird neck thing, the trench coat, the weird gloves. It's a whole thing. But I do really like Gambit in that movie. I think he's a very fun character. So it's a little heartbreaking, and I'm happy for everybody dressing up as him. But I got to go with Delia.
Yeah, I mean, superheroes are dead anyways. We've seen the box office returns for Joker 2, and I think we could just say goodbye to all these superheroes.
Well, Wolverine and Deadpool did just make like $1.5 billion, so...
Oh, that's yesterday's news, man. That was a couple months or more ago.
That's true. That was 6 or 7 weeks ago.
But what is right now is the next matchup, which is Doctor Doom from the comic books, from the Marvel comics, and Godzilla from the Godzillers. Gotta go Godzilla, right? I mean, I like Doctor Doom. He's got the cool mask. But you are going to have to field questions all night long. Is that an MF Doom costume or is that a Doctor Doom costume? Nobody wants to do that.
That's true. But is this Godzilla the good Godzilla, or is this the American Godzilla?
I think it's any goddamn Godzilla you want it to be, you know?
Okay.
We don't know what the purchasing intent is here. When somebody Googles it, they're not writing Matthew Broderick's Godzilla, you know what I mean?
Okay, well, all right. Well, that makes it a little easier, I guess. Because if it was specifically American Godzilla, then I'm out. But yeah, I love a good Godzilla. I would go with Doctor Doom. I really like Doctor Doom, but this seems like a little bit of a poser pick because they just announced that Doctor Doom will be in the Marvel movies and he's not yet. So it's like for him to not even shown up yet and you're dressing like Doctor Doom, that's a little bit, you're jumping the gun a little bit, I think. So yeah, so I agree about Godzilla.
Yeah, plus, you know, going back to the point about Shrunken Head Bob, this is Ziller's time. When has Ziller ever been more relevant in American media, you know?
That's true. That is true.
All right,
And
so
yeah, Doctor Doom will be back like next year whenever that movie comes
he's
out.
doing
So
fine, you know.
he'll have his moment.
Yeah. I don't know who Sabrina Carpenter is. I guess she's a pop musician, right?
Yeah. She's a blonde lady. I know that.
And interesting that she got paired up with Soulja Boy, you know, kind of similar to our first round Burton v. Burton. We got two musicians here. Didn't really intend for that to happen. I remember that Superman song / dance. And that's all I know about Soulja Boy. Should I know anything else? Is there anything else to even know?
That's what I'm thinking, because it's very weird for him to be on this, because I thought that he kind of ceased to exist like
I thought he was like Cisco or so many of the rappers of, you know, the early 2000s. They get their thong songs and then they're out.
All of our younger listeners are screaming at their iPhones right now, being like, oh, Soulja Boy's got 13 masterpiece albums.
Well, not albums, but he's got 13 masterpiece TikToks. Yeah, that's how the kids consume music now, in 15-second chunks on TikTok.
Oh, that's true. That is true.
I guess I'm going for Soulja Boy because I know who it is, but I mean, nobody's getting past the next round from this matchup, you know?
Yeah.
No matter who they face.
I would have gone with Sabrina Carpenter just because, like, I know that she's relevant right now.
We could do that. That's fine by me. Again, she got no chance against Godzilla.
Okay, that's a good point. All right, let's go with Sabrina Carpenter.
All right, congrats to her. Maybe she was on SNL or something. I'm wondering, like, how do these people get on these lists otherwise?
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I think she has, like, a distinctive look to her.
Oh, yeah?
She's always wearing, like, a sequined leotard or something, if I'm thinking of the right person.
She got, like, a really long butt or something?
That very well could be.
Tell me more. Next lineup, Dolores from Beetlejuice. Is that that's the mother, I presume, right? Catherine O'Hara?
I don't know. Is it? I don't remember her name. It might be this might be the
it's
the wife.
Monica Bellucci.
Oh, I've had a dream about her.
Of course you have.
Yes.
So she's basically kind of what's Jack Skellington's girlfriend? Sally?
Sally.
She's kind of a Sally, right?
She's exactly that, because Tim Burton is not a man of many ideas. She's like Beetlejuice's ex-wife who comes back to get revenge on him during the movie.
Okay. And she's paired up against just Ghostbusters.
Yeah, so this could be the real Ghostbusters. This could be the movie Ghostbusters. This could be the Ghostbusters from like the 30s that hung around with that gorilla.
To be fair, I mean, I guess the movie Ghostbusters do all wear the same uniform, so you can just say it's a Ghostbusters costume. But I would have preferred if they had singled out a Venkman or, you know, anybody.
Yeah. But then they'd have to put 4 of these different Ghostbusters on the list, probably.
Yeah. And they probably got to pay Bill Murray.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to do that.
Yeah. I got to go with Ghostbusters.
Yeah, I'm going Ghostbusters.
Yeah, it's a much lower seed, but Dolores is not very cool in that movie.
Plus, presumably, you get a proton pack, and that's kind of cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Should I rewatch Ghostbusters 2? It's been probably 10 years.
We actually watched it when we were just hanging around in Cincinnati earlier this year. Like we were like waiting for the convention to start, so we watched Ghostbusters 2, and I don't think it's very good. I think you can skip it.
That Vigo, he's not terrifying anymore?
No, never was.
By the way, speaking of Vigo, they had the Vigo portrait in the maze at Universal for Frozen Empire, which I don't know if Vigo plays into Frozen Empire or if they're just doing like a tribute to part 2. And I thought it was cool to see. I'm like, oh, cool, there's the portrait. I didn't learn until afterwards when I was hearing somebody else talk about the maze. There's supposed to be a big scare there where like Vigo popped out of the portrait. But I guess I timed it wrong or whatever. I totally missed it.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah.
That is the interesting part about those mazes is like, yeah, if you don't time something right, you might miss something very important. Because I remember one time we went through like, I forget what it was, like one of them, and we actually like later on we got to go through again, and it was like a totally different experience. Or well, the Freddy versus Jason one was like that. Like we got through to the end, and the whole entire last room was totally different, which I don't even know how they did that.
Yeah. Maybe they led us through a different door right at the end. I don't know, but yeah,
They could be.
They do that where the final scene is sometimes different, which is cool. But then there's also just, you miss stuff on timing.
Yeah. But yeah, there's like so much going on in some of those rooms that, I guess you can't help but miss some stuff. But yeah, so next we have Disgust from the Inside Out movie.
Okay, I've not seen either of these. I'm presuming that this is from part 2. Maybe he's from part 2 and 1. I don't know, but...
Yeah, I've seen part 1... And I don't remember this character, but it's been a while.
Did you like that part 1?
I liked part 1 a lot. Yeah, I thought it was really good.
Okay.
And Shadow the Hedgehog from Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, we all like Shadow, right? He's the black hedgehog. He's not as cool as Knuckles, the red hedgehog. But he's black, and that's his defining character trait, besides, being a hedgehog.
Yeah. He's black and his name is Shadow. It's very, very creative on their parts.
People love these Sonic hedgehogs,
Yeah, that they do.
And they love making funny little artworks with them, where they're doing perverted things.
Yeah, I see a lot of those on Tumblr.
Probably a lot of Shadow the Hedgehog drawings out there that have enormous testicles, Just painfully large testicles. Like, guy had to get another sheet of paper to continue drawing the testicles,
Mm-hmm. I think that's probably true. I've probably seen a few of those.
And for that reason alone, I'm promoting Shadow the Hedgehog on to the next round. I don't know about you. I can't really speak for the Inside Outs.
Yeah, I haven't seen the second one, and I think this character is only in the second one, so I'll go with Shadow. Why not?
All right, cool. Next round, Pomni from what? Is it from The Amazing Spider-Man? It got cut off. What is it from?
The Amazing Digital Circus.
What the fuck is The Amazing Digital Circus?
That's a great question.
What the fuck is The Amazing Digital Circus?
It's like a little clown character, like a cute little clown.
How did this get into the top 32 when I've never even heard of this?
It's an indie animated web series. So apparently it's popular.
Okay. The Old. Yeah, it looks like they made, if not a Funko Pop, some kind of plastic figurine of this that's in a Funko Pop style box.
Yeah. It kind of just looks like Mr. Mime from the Pokemon.
Yeah, I'm not into this court jester looking bullshit.
You don't like Pomni?
No, Pomni sucks.
All right, well.
I'm angry about Pomni.
Well, against Pomni, we have the 8th seed, the Corpse Bride, who is just Dolores, basically, but not in live action, in stop motion.
Oh, yeah. So she's Sally and she's the Beetlejuice lady. Cool.
Oh yeah, that's my brain just went to that earlier. I didn't even realize that Sally is also this character, this sort of like zombie, stitched up Frankenstein undead character. Boy, this Tim Burton, he's a creative guy.
Well, I mean, if you look at most of the women that he's been with, I guess he's just drawing from what he knows.
That is a good point. Do you
Do
think it really irks David Lynch that this woman that he's dreaming about is with a much inferior director?
I think so. Yeah, I think it's probably his number one concern.
It would be my number one concern.
Yeah, he's up late nights at Bob's Big Boy, drinking coffee after coffee, just fretting over this. It's been his number one source of fret.
That very well could be. So I don't know. Corpse Bride then?
Yeah, it's got to be Corpse Bride. I mean, fuck this other Pomni bullshit.
Yeah. Next, we've got an Inside Out battle.
Okay.
Anger and Joy.
I think you're going to have to run this one.
Well, Anger, he's like Inside Out is basically Herman's head. Like it's a story about a group of emotions in a person's head that like tell the person what to do.
Is it also kind of a Dream On?
A little bit, because like we keep cutting to like the interior monologues.
Yeah, the interior monologue.
Yeah, so in that way,
is it sort of like what was that movie with Martin Short? Inner Space? Is it sort of like Inner Space, and that we're cutting to the inside of the body?
Kind of, but we're not. I don't think that any of the emotional people are physical necessarily. I think they're all just like in the brain.
Oh, so there's no scenes where they're like drowning in snot or something, because Martin Short's sneezing. And they're like, oh, why did you sneeze? Don't you know that we're little people inside here? And when you sneeze, we drown in snot. Don't do that, please. They don't do that.
I don't think it's like that. I think that there is a part where like they're being chased by like the concept of depression or something like that. It's been a long time since I've seen it. So there are sort of scenes like that, but it's all kind of like metaphysical mental health stuff rather than like, oh, we're in the kidneys now.
And do they explain in the movies why the character designs look like such trash?
They do not, no. That's just how animation works these days.
Okay. I'm presuming that you're going to go with Anger because you're such an angry guy.
Yeah, I think Anger is funny. He's a funny guy to me. He's like wearing like a little button-up shirt and a tie, which is funny.
Yeah, he's probably doing like John Cleese routines, getting all flustered.
He gets flustered, he yells, like his head catches on fire, the more mad he gets.
I like that.
I like it.
All right. What's next?
We've got Ray Gun, an Australian break dancer.
You don't know Ray Gun.
Okay, I do. I didn't
know.
Now
you do. Okay. All right.
I love Ray Gun. I'm going Ray Gun. Sorry, Taylor Swift.
It's an interesting matchup.
What's that?
It's an interesting matchup, though, right?
Absolutely, it is. Two very successful women in their field.
Yeah.
I'm a little surprised that Ray Gun is the number 2 seed and Taylor Swift is 31, considering Taylor Swift is the most famous person on planet Earth, outside of like maybe Trump and Putin. But yeah, Ray Gun, I mean, Ray Gun is such a fascinating person because they are the most embarrassing person to have ever lived, right? Like, has anybody fucked up on a grander stage more than this person?
It's tough to say. I mean, those videos kind of speak for themselves, right?
I mean,
but at the same
really
time, I don't know. Like, I'm mixed on these like highly topical Halloween costumes. Like I remember one year it was Dick in the Box. Everybody had Dick in the Box, and we all laughed. We had fun with that. I think they got to be a really big swing and a big hit, and I don't think this is either. I think it's kind of lazy Ray Gun. I feel like what even is that costume? It's just you buy like a a polo shirt and a visor, I think, and some khakis maybe, you're going to be explaining all night long to people that you're ray gun, unless you can approximate her moves. In which case, I think that'll be an incredible, source of fun for the entire party all night long. You're going to be getting down on that cardboard. People are going to be cheering you on.
I think that's the fun. That's the fun part. And I've talked about this a few times, but like I very rarely dress up for Halloween because my opinion, which is apparently weird from so anytime I talk about this, I hear about how it's weird. But I think if you dress up like something for Halloween, you should be in character that whole night. Like that's, to me, the fun. And I've done it a few times, but it's hard work, so I rarely do it. But if you're ray gun, that would be astoundingly fun to just constantly do like the little kangaroo hops all night long and just break dance poorly. Like that would be fun.
There's a bit of prep involved. You probably got to rehearse a little bit, at least the night before. You rewatch the videos and you try it out in front of your television, see if you can replicate. But probably worth the investment, and people are going to remember it. The risk is you show up to the party and there's 4 other ray guns, and guess what? Those other guys got way better moves than you.
Yeah, that is a risk. Because if you show up as, like a Beetlejuice character, you're not in direct competition with any of the other Beetlejuice characters necessarily. But then again, that could be fun with ray gun. You guys could all have a dance-off, a bad dance-off. That could be fun.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Like tag team style even, depending on how many people there are.
Yeah, just like 3 or 4 kangaroos dancing around the party.
I will say, in terms of remaining in character for your Halloween costume, I get it. I mean, I can see the appeal of that to a degree, but don't you also kind of like the incongruity of like, it's that thing, where Moe's in the sailor costume and it's like, can you believe it? It's me, Moe, in a sailor costume, but he's still acting like Moe. Don't you like at a Halloween party where it's like, oh shit, that's Freddy Krueger, but he's just playing pool. He's just playing billiards, I like that,
Well, I mean, I guess you don't have to like go full on method actor with it, but I think if you're like Freddy playing pool, you should at least call your opponent a bitch a couple of times, just like kind of just remind them that you're Freddy, like I guess you don't have to like be like full 100% committed to it, but just every once in a while, throw out a reference or do a little something.
Sure. Well, I guess ray gun's moving on then, because that's the costume that provides that opportunity versus Taylor Swift. I don't know. I guess you would maybe sing at this theoretical Halloween party. Could you see yourself singing a Taylor Swift song?
Nah,
I can't.
That's too hard.
Yeah.
So next we've got 15 versus 18, Anxiety from Inside Out versus Dune from Dune.
So Dune is a thing?
I think that people who like Dune and who want to dress up, as Dune for Halloween don't realize that the guy's name is Paul Atreides, probably because the movie's so boring that people who like Dune probably fell asleep in the first 15 fucking minutes.
Now, we don't think that they actually mean you're dressing up like a planet, right? Because the planet Arrakis is called Dune, right?
I don't know. I fell asleep in the first 15 minutes of that movie. I don't know what anything's called.
Oh boy, this is a conundrum, because in theory I like Dune, but in practice I never do. But Anxiety from Inside Out is, something I got no familiarity with. I gotta go Dune, but I could be talked out of it. I don't know.
I'm looking at Anxiety now, and I think this is a new character for part 2 as well. So I don't know anything about him. I like him. I think he looks cute. Like he's kind of looks like that prawn from the Muppets.
Yeah,
I like that. But yeah, let's go with Dune.
Yeah, if we're going cute factor, I think you got to go Chalamet.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right. Well, Red from Descendants, The Rise of Red.
Okay.
Whatever that. Do we know what that is? I don't know what that is. And Gojo from I don't know what Gojo is.
I don't know what that is. Yeah, Descendants is like a Disney Channel thing.
I thought it was a punk band.
Well, they sold out. They're just on the Disney Channel now.
Oh, okay.
Gojo
is like Is he a manga character or an anime character? Probably both.
Probably both. Does it mean... Oh, wait, is JoJo... JoJo's an American singer and songwriter? Is that who they mean? Or do they mean JoJo from the Bizarre Adventure?
We're talking about Gojo here from Jujutsu Kaisen.
Okay.
You don't know Jujutsu Kaisen?
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
You're talking about Satoru Gojo?
Yeah, I think so. And to me, he just looks kind of like Naruto.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, pretty much. Or like, he's got like those like little glasses, like the Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah, but then sometimes I guess he's wearing a bandage over all of his eyes.
Yeah, I don't like this guy. I want to go with the other one.
All right. Yeah, that's fair. Let's go with the other one that we don't know. Red.
Well, I was like a guy I don't like versus a person I have no feelings about whatsoever. I think that's where I'm looking at this matchup for.
Okay. Well, maybe you've got feelings about Lady Deadpool from Deadpool and Wolverine and Lydia Dietz.
Oh, wait.
I think we did it wrong, right?
Yeah.
Delia must be Catherine O'Hara, right?
Is Delia... Well, there's also Jenna Ortega, the daughter. What's her name in that fucking thing?
Okay, so Delia is Catherine O'Hara.
Okay,
I still feel good about moving her on, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Versus Gambit. That's fine. She's funny. She's a Canadian treasure. We all love her, right?
Yeah, she's fine. She doesn't really have a look about her, but sure. Okay. Yeah, okay. So now we got Lydia versus Lady Deadpool. I see a lot of Lady Deadpools. Like when I cover the cosplay events for my work and stuff, I see a lot of Lady Deadpools and not a lot of Lydia Dietz's. And this is probably the only time that Lady Deadpool will coincide with a Halloween, because it's not like they're ever going to do a full-on Lady Deadpool movie or anything. So I would have to say Lady Deadpool.
I didn't even know that Lady Deadpool was a thing. I thought that this was like some sort of, Shadow the Hedgehog with huge testicles thing, where the internet invented this because they wanted to satisfy some weird sexual kink that they had. But
that may be how it started, but it is part of the comics and movies now.
Okay. Is it just like Deadpool with big tits?
Yeah, it's like alternate universe Deadpool, and it's a sexy lady.
Okay. I'm not going to fight you over it, but I would probably push for Lydia. But you know what? If you love Lady Deadpool, I'm here to help you.
Okay. I would like to go with Lady Deadpool. And also, I think since we gave away a lot of Lydia's points to Delia, I think it's only fair that she takes a handicap here.
The Dietzes can only go so far in this. We can't have total Dietz nepotism in this bracket,
Yeah, and half these characters are Tim Burton characters, so we gotta whittle them down somewhere.
It's the year of Tim Burton. The man has never been more on top of his game. That's what we're all saying.
He's back at it.
Catnap from the Poppy Playtime video game. I don't know what the fuck that is. And M&M. I know what those are. They're pretty tasty. I'm going M&M, a classic candy that melts in your mouth, not in your hand, although it does get weird food coloring all over your hand. They should really look into fixing that. Or maybe I'm just sweating too much on my candies. But I still like them. I like those M&Ms.
Yeah. I'm looking at Poppy now. It's like a Five Nights at Freddy's ripoff type of a thing. Like a little kid horror game.
That.
Yeah. So, let's go with M&M. He's classic.
After all the years of advertising joy that M&M has brought us, we better go with M&M,
Yeah.
Wolverine from Deadpool v. Wolverine. Not the Wolverine from Logan or anything else, but this one specifically. And Minion from the Despicable Me franchise.
Yeah. Very disrespectful, because these Minions have names, so they're just calling him Minion. Like that. It's a little racist.
You think they should have picked Kevin?
Of course. That would be
Bitch.
that would be the best costume, because then you could go out to the party. Somebody would be like, "Hey, who are you? What's your costume?" And you go, "Well, this is Kevin." That would be the best part.
Yeah, then you could tell your friends, or you could say to him at some point, "Thanks, Kevin."
Exactly. We all know I love the Minions, so I would probably go with the Minions here. But this is the year of Wolverine. He's back. I'm not. He's a classic
I don't like
character.
this Wolverine costume. It feels like an invitation for guys to try and act real tough at the party. They're going to grow their sideburns out real long, and they're going to get jacked up on human growth hormone. They're going to fly into a fit of roid rage in your living room when you're just trying to watch, Charlie Brown Halloween.
I think that's a good point. Yeah. They're going to be smoking that cigar in your apartment.
Yeah, dude, you don't want that. Minion guy, he's over in the corner saying banana over and over again. And that's adorable.
Yeah. Next, we've got Envy from Inside Out and the Queen of Hearts, another Tim Burton adjacent thing.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he did the Alice in Wonderland, right? So
yeah. I imagine that's what this is referencing. I mean, I can't imagine there's a lot of OG Lewis Carroll costumes out there.
Probably not. But I'm going Queen of Hearts. I mean, I love Alice. Do I love the Tim Burton version? No, but I don't think he destroyed the character design or anything in that, as far as I remember.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine with me. We got enough Inside Outs on this list.
And the final matchup in the first round, Peely from the Fortnite games versus Chipotle Burrito.
Yeah. Two similar things, kind of, because Peely's a banana man. He's like kind of similar to a burrito, right? Like his banana peel is the.
You're saying that he would be good friends with the Minions, I guess.
He might, yeah.
I like the inclusion of Chipotle Burrito in that it is like one of the few novelty picks on the list, but I don't like that it's corporate branded, and I don't think it needs to be. Like, I think you could just be burrito. I don't know what's so different about a Chipotle burrito visually that we need to brand it here. It's just tinfoil, right? Does it say Chipotle on it?
I don't think so. No, I think, it's just the tinfoil aspect to it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of guys use tinfoil for their burritos. It's not exclusive.
Yeah. I'm looking at Peely now. I don't know anything about Fortnite, but there's one picture of him on Google Images where he's hanging out with like a fish man, and it says Peely versus Fishy. And if this guy's also in Fortnite, like, this is my guy. Like, this guy rules. I don't know if you can see this guy if you Google Fishy from Fortnite. But I love this guy. So the fact that Peely is more popular than Fishy, that's fucking sucky. So in a protest vote, I would have to go with Chipotle, I think, right? Look at Fishy. Do you see this guy?
Fishy is incredible. But I wonder if this is how we get Fishy on the list eventually.
Okay.
As we start bringing in his crew, maybe Peely makes some space for Fishy for next year. And I think you're underselling Peely. He's kind of cool. He's got the real mean eyebrows,
Well, that's true, yeah. And in some of these pictures, he's wearing a tuxedo, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, and he's got muscles. It's probably the most muscular banana I've ever laid my eyes on, I would think, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe I'm going to start playing Fortnite. These guys are kind of fun.
I gotta be honest, I didn't know what Fortnite looked like at all. I don't think I've ever seen a visual of it, but it looks fun, I suppose. A lot of bright colors.
Yeah, it's very kiddie from what I understand. But all right, yeah, let's go with Peely in the hopes that Fishy shows up next year.
All right. Congrats to Peely. So we move on to round 2, and we'll start speeding through these, but it's going to be Shrunken Head Bob from Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice versus Delia Dietz from Beetlejuice.
I would go with my man Bob. He's iconic.
I mean, it's an actual costume rather than it just being, I don't know, like a blouse or whatever Delia wears. I mean, maybe she's got like a spider-shaped scrunchie in her hair or something cool like that, I guess. But yeah, it's got to be Bob.
Yeah.
Then we got Godzilla versus Sabrina Carpenter. And I think it's pretty obvious. Sorry, Sabrina, but you're getting stomped like Bambi, right?
Yeah, Godzilla's good. I mean, like, the one kind of negative that Godzilla would have is that he's like a pretty hard costume to wear. You know, like you're probably going to get hot in there, and there's that big tail, but still better than Sabrina Carpenter.
Ghostbusters versus Shadow the Hedgehog. I gotta go with my big bald hedgehog.
You going with the hedgehog?
I think I'm going hedgehog. Yeah, he's got those nuts that I love.
Well, all right. When you put it that way, I'll back you up on this.
All right, yeah.
But only because the last 3 Ghostbusters movies, 75% of the Ghostbusters movies are bad. If they had come out with one other good Ghostbusters movie, I would fight hard for them.
And also, if they had let me be the Keymaster instead of, one of the Ghostbusters.
That's also a good point.
Corpse Bride versus Anger. I don't know. I'm not that invested in this one. I like Corpse Bride okay. I don't think the character is that interesting, and it is pretty similar to everything else that Tim Burton's ever done. And you seem to like Anger, so...
Yeah, I like Anger. I would like Anger in this one.
All right.
Seems like it'd be a fun costume. Paint your face red, wear a tie.
Yeah, and I think it'll make for a good matchup in the next round. But moving on to Ray Gun versus Dune. The matchup we've all been waiting for. I think people have been talking about this all year long. It's finally here. Dune versus Ray Gun.
I gotta go with Ray Gun. I mean, it's funny, it's silly. You get to prolong this person's agony for embarrassing, just on a worldwide stage, making breakdance look like a piece of shit, like to embarrass a culture that is not your own on the world stage, I think is ballsy. And I feel like we should keep goofing on this lady for doing that.
Breakdancing, that thing that we all took so seriously before Ray Gun, right?
Well, some people take it very seriously.
I'm sure they do, but I'm with you. I'm with Ray Gun. Mostly because I don't know what they even mean when they say Dune from Dune.
That's a good point as well.
Red from The Rise of Red versus Lady Deadpool. You got thoughts on this?
I would say Lady Deadpool.
All right, sure.
I don't remember
tits.
Red.
Yeah, let's do it. Eminem versus Minion.
I'm going with my boy Minion here.
Ooh, I don't know, man. I think we gotta go Eminem. He's a tried and true. Comes in multiple colors. Minion, only the one yellow.
I think there's purple Minions. I think there's like weird Neanderthal Minions that are purple. Maybe.
I don't believe in that.
But the M&Ms, they got rid of the sexy green one. So I mean, that's if there's no sexy green one, what's even the point?
No, you just gotta. I think if you tune in to TV later at night, you'll see After Dark. The green M&M is ruling the airwaves.
That could be.
I don't know. I just feel like the Minions have very few retail outposts on the Las Vegas Strip.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right. Well, when you put it that way, when you bring Las Vegas, my favorite place, into it, then yeah, I'll go with M&Ms.
Okay. I appreciate that. And this next round is Queen of Hearts versus Peely.
I've suddenly become a really big Peely fan, so I'm
Peely rules. I fucking love Peely. Always have.
Yeah. He's got if you search for Peely skins, he's got a lot of fun skins. There's one where he's dressed like corn, which is just a very funny visual, like a banana dressed like a corn on the cob. That's funny. This is my new favorite guy.
Be careful with that search. I feel like that's a slightly dangerous search.
Oh, that's true. I'm going to play Fortnite tonight. I'll let you know how it goes next week. But yeah, Peely.
All right, Peely. Moving on to the next round, then we've got Shrunkenhead Bob versus Godzilla. It's a big matchup, right? Two heavy hitters, two costumes that would appeal to us, I believe.
Yeah. I think these are probably the ones that I mean, outside of maybe like a Wolverine or somebody like that appeal to us specifically, our tastes here on the show. This is probably like the biggest matchup.
Let me ask you this: how does the Shrunken Head Bob costume work? Do you think your head is inside of like the torso of the costume, and then you've got a fake head on top of where your head is? Is that what we're doing here?
I think that's how it would be. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a person in this costume yet. I mean, we're still pretty early in the Halloween season, but I did see like they do that big parade for pets in I think LA. And I saw some videos of a dog dressed as Bob, and they just sat the dog like inside the chest and his little head poked out, and it was very cute. So I imagine that's the same thing you would do with a human. Yeah, you just walk around with the little eye holes in the chest and the little Bob head on top.
Well, based on that cuteness of a video that I haven't even seen in a context that doesn't really apply to these human costumes we're talking about, I got to go Bob.
All right, yeah, Bob, he's pretty good. And also, you don't have to worry about your tail breaking stuff at the party. I think that's important.
Yeah, for sure. Shadow the Hedgehog versus Anger.
Two very angry guys, I think.
It's true. It's true. Only one of them has his own DeviantArt community.
That we know of.
Although they both probably are deviants in their own way.
That's true. Are you still on the side of Shadow? You still rooting for him?
I think I'm shadowing over here. I don't know.
Okay.
He likes to go fast, He's got to go fast.
No, you're thinking about Sonic.
Shadow goes pretty fast, too.
I didn't know. I'm a little sad there's no ugly Sonic on this list.
Should be ugly Sonic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where's ugly Shadow, by the way?
Yeah. I like Anger, but it's hard to deny that this is Shadow's year. Like, I think he's in a new Sonic movie and everything like that, so.
Everybody's been saying it all year long. This really is Shadow the Hedgehog's year.
I mean, I think it is. I think people are very excited for that new movie.
Well, one thing that I think is certain is that it was Raygun's year. And so this matchup between Lady Deadpool and Raygun, I feel like is just a easy lock for Raygun. I think she's going away with the gold here.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Lady Deadpool's cool. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of Lady Deadpools this year out at the parties. But, I mean, Raygun's classic. Little kangaroo hops. Little fucking Three Stooges spins on the ground thinking that it's cool. I love it.
And then Eminem versus Peely.
I'm going Peely.
Of course. I mean, that goes without saying. We're all going Peely. He's fucking awesome, dude. Long-time supporter of Peely. All right.
He's my favorite soccer player.
We're getting close. Shrunken Head Bob versus Shadow the Hedgehog.
I'm going with Bob on this one.
Oof. It's tough. It's tough for me to say this, but I do have to bid farewell to our hedgehog friend and his giant balls at a certain point. And I think that time is now. But you know what? I'm sure he can, take solace in the fact that his balls are so giant. So he'll be fine. Speaking of big balls, we got Raygun versus Peely, two of the biggest bald characters on this list.
My two favorite characters of all time, really. I don't know. Who do you think for this one?
My thoughts on Peely. I'm Peely till I die. So sorry, Raygun. It was fun while it lasted, but I got no room for a nondescript polo shirt and visor when I could be dressed up like a tough banana with mean eyebrows.
Yeah, this is a pretty good banana. There's like a skin where his skeleton is showing and his guts. Like, that fucking rules. Raygun doesn't have that.
No, not yet.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, Peely all the way.
Which leaves us with a final matchup of Shrunken Head Bob versus Peely. Don't rush into your answer, but I'm almost feeling like a come from behind victory from the thing that I had never heard of, from a game that I thought that I would hate and probably still will, beating a beloved character. Could that happen? I grew up loving Shrunken Head Bob. I still love that character in theory. Not as familiar with his recent work, having not seen the new movie. So it's tough. I don't know. Do I betray an old favorite in favor of the shiny new Peely?
Well,
That's a sexy banana, though, man. Look at that
Let
thing.
me send you this link in the chat. It's a list of apparently all the best Peely skins in the game that you can get.
Okay. Are any of them Shrunken Head Bob skins? Because that would be pretty wild.
No, there is a Wolverine one. I don't think he's on this list, but I did see him. So he does cross over with some of these folks. But we've got Peely Bones, where you see his bones on the inside, which is cool. We've got Unpeely, where he's just naked and pale and a surfer, I think. The P1000, where he's a robot. That's funny.
Yeah.
The fact that these skins cost like $12 each is fucking insane. There's like a Steamboat Willie Toon Peely. Adventure Peely is pretty cool. But my favorite is down here at the bottom. My two favorites, Potassius Peely.
Yeah, I like that one.
He's a good one. And Cobb, where he's dressed up like corn. That is very funny to me.
Oh, yeah. That's a rare one, apparently.
Oh, it does say that he's rare, yeah. It costs 1,200 V-Bucks. This
so I think that there's a skin pops as players deal damage. That's fun, too.
That is fun. And there's also Polar Peely. I didn't see him. Agent Peely, Philosopher, Banana Crates. That's funny to me.
Oh, yeah, dude. Banana Crates is cool.
Yeah, so we've got to become the number one Peely podcast. We got to rebrand after this episode. We're just going to be giving people Peely news.
I think I have a new identity, and I didn't know that I needed this in my life, but yeah, apparently I'm a Peelsman now.
Yeah. I like Peely.
Okay,
Yeah, there's a lot of versatility here. If you want to dress up like Peely for Halloween, you got like 30 fucking choices.
But wait a minute.
Yeah.
Is this all a trick? Because isn't there just a generic Banana Man costume that's been around forever?
Well, yeah.
Are they reselling me Banana Man costumes under the guise of Peely?
That could be.
I'm going to search for Peely costume. Well, I think we should do an actual comparison in terms of what kind of costumes are out there.
Okay.
Versus Shrunken Head Bob costume.
Okay, some of these Peely costumes are nice, but some of them are real janky and terrible looking.
Yeah. I see a cool one where a guy has very muscular thighs and is wearing like some kind of leotard, yellow leotard underneath the banana costume. That's impressive.
Mm-hmm.
And then Shrunken Head Bob, I think it does work in the way that we described, where you would basically be peering out through his chest the entire night.
Yeah. There is apparently a, whatever his name was, the Roman Peely. You can get that on Amazon. Potassius.
Is that true?
Yep.
I can get Potassius?
You can get Potassius for somewhere between $50 and $70.
Oh, thank God Google was able to autocorrect my spelling of Potassius Peely. They knew. Oh, yeah, it's got to be Peely. The Potassius costume sealed the deal. Look at his thumbs down.
He has thumbs downing. He's got a grumpy face.
Thumbs down on the packaging.
Yeah. All right. I'm fine with that. I am now a big fan of Peely. I am legitimately going to play this video game. I I like this guy.
Man, now I am really regretting not going to that Peely maze at Universal. Why did I skip
You're gonna
it?
have to go back.
Yeah. All right, well, cool. That settles
Peely.
that. That's official. That's legally binding. The best Halloween costume of the year 2024 is Peely. And I don't want to hear any guff about it.
Yeah. I hope it doesn't cost me $12 to buy all these skins, because I'm going to buy them all.
I think, once archive.org gets back online, I think I can find you a link for these skins.
I would appreciate that. All right, yeah, it's settled. That's the number one costume this year.
Hell yeah, where's my free TV?
Okay, all right, Kevin. Are you sure that's what you wanted to say, or did you want to say something slightly different?
Yeah, I don't want to live in this new world of weird skins.
Oh, I see. You forgot what you were trying to say before. Well, at least you got it out eventually, Kevin. That was good.
That's a funny one. All right, I think that wraps it up for this segment. We don't have any voicemails because we haven't been able to put these episodes out properly. If you're one of the few who have found us on Patreon, thank you for doing hard work to listen. Hopefully we'll be able to put them back up on the real feed soon, but it's not up to us. It's up to Archive, because 13 years ago we were too cheap to pay for a web host.
What the fuck?
And now we pay the consequences.
Unfortunately, if you want a copy, it's only $600 these days.
That's also true. Send us PayPal us $600 and we'll just send you the MP3 of the last couple episodes. So that's also an option. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about The Strangers. It's a movie, so stick around.
I just want to tell you something.
What do you want to tell me?
You are my girl.
I love you, Jimmy.
What is that?
It's okay, there's nothing here. I haven't heard a dog bark or a car pass. Nothing.
There's someone out there.
Hello?
What is it?
It's my phone.
Oh my God.
We gotta get out of here. Then open the door, and I just want you to run, okay?
Why are you doing this to us? Because you were home.
Welcome back to Junk Food Supper. The movie we're talking about tonight is The Strangers. This is a 2008 movie directed by Bryan Bertino, who, this was his debut. This was the third script he ever wrote, and it got made into a movie.
Oh, this is what Bryan Bertino would do.
He would do this. I've never seen a director eat so many chicken wings.
Exactly.
This he sold it to, I think, Universal, and he was not originally supposed to also direct it, but a couple of directors who were interested bowed out. I forget who they were exactly, kind of notable names. I think one of the guys who did a lot of Platinum Dunes movies.
Almost feels like a Ty West kind of a movie.
Yeah, for sure. He was not one of them. Let me find it. It was Mark Romanek, who did all those cool music videos back in the day and also directed 1 Hour Photo and Never Let Me Go and pretty much nothing else. He does TV
Well, and
now.
all those romantic comedies he did.
He did those as well, yeah. And Justin Lin, who did a bunch of the Fast and Furious movies. They were both in talks to direct this, but they both bowed out. So the studio just said, hey, you wrote the thing. How about you direct it? And so he did.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, which is a pretty interesting way to get promoted, I guess. But so this, he, in writing this, he was influenced by the Manson family murders, which is pretty apparent in the movie, I think, and also by a thing that happened to him as a kid, where people came to his house as a kid late at night, knocked on the door, asked if a certain person was there, and he said no, that person doesn't live here, and then they left and went away. And then he found out later that these people were going to every house in the neighborhood, and anytime somebody wasn't home, that person in the neighborhood got robbed. And so that kind of became this story where Liv Tyler and her boyfriend, Scott Speedman, played by James, or Scott Speedman is the actor. He plays a guy named James. They're at a wedding out kind of in the middle of nowhere. And after the wedding, they leave to go to his family's house, like sort of his childhood home. For the weekend, he wanted to have a romantic weekend there because he was going to propose marriage to her. But she said no. And so we have this very tense, sort of immediately emotional, very like minimalist setup where these two people are just like very sad about this situation. Like it's not the kind of thing where they hate each other or like that she was going to break up with him or anything. She just didn't want to get married. So now they're in like this weird sort of like limbo place and like neither one of them really wants to talk about it too much.
Next thing you know, he's boning this chick.
And then they almost start boning.
I think they do start boning.
Yeah. Well, they attempt to bone and then that's when they get the knock at the door.
I feel like there might have been a couple, strokes of penetration there. You know what I mean?
I think you're probably right. I think there definitely was penetration. And yeah, they do this while listening to Billy Bragg and Wilco, which is a good move. It's a good album they're listening to. And then so they get that knock at the door, and it's a lady, and this is 4 a.m, mind you. And it's a lady asking them if Tamara is home, and they say no. And she acts very weird towards them, but eventually leaves.
They can't really see her face because the light on the doorstep is out at the time.
Yeah, the light is out, and they're kind of way out in the middle of nowhere. They're not so far out in the middle of nowhere. A lot of people have said that this movie is a lot like a real life situation called the Ketty Cabin Murders, which happened here in California in the 80s, where 4 people were killed like just randomly like this. And this isn't so far out. Like there are streetlights on this street, which I think makes it a little bit scarier. That it's out there, they're away from other people, but it's not like a Jason situation where they're in the middle of nowhere. And I think that makes it a little bit scary to kind of like be out there on your own, but like you could potentially scream and get a neighbor's attention. Like it's kind of like this weird middle place that I feel like isn't really explored in movies too often. But
I think the opening of Scream kind of has that vibe too, where it's like, that house is in a neighborhood, but maybe there's just nobody around right now.
Yeah. It's definitely like that. Yeah. Where like Drew Barrymore, if she would have run for like 5 minutes, she would have gotten to the neighbor. Like they're out there somewhere, but not right next door. So then the guy leaves to go get some cigarettes. Liv Tyler's home alone, and creepy things start happening. There's loud noises. The lady comes back and asks the same exact question in the same exact way. There's weird stuff in the fireplace. making a mess, making a smoky mess. And then one of the scariest scenes in any movie that I've ever seen. We just have like this very slow, minimalist, sort of no music scene where Liv Tyler is just standing in the kitchen trying to collect herself because there's been some scary knocks, and a guy just emerges behind her from the shadows.
Yeah, and I guess we should mention that he's got a mask on that's kind of like a nondescript, almost like the Time Crimes kind of a mask, you know?
Yeah, it's sort of like almost like Baghead Jason kind of, but like not really. Like it looks like it was manufactured specifically to be like a mask of, you know, so it's not just like putting a potato sack on your head. It's a very cool mask. It's sort of like this movie came out around the same time as Batman Begins, but it's sort of like the mask that Scarecrow wore too a little bit.
Yeah. But, and also in that tradition of, you know, from Michael Myers onwards of these kind of blank masks, you know?
True, yeah. Yeah, it's definitely got more to do with like Michael Myers than like Scarecrow. It is just a white sort of blank mask. And all three of the people who show up and start terrorizing these people have very like white, pale masks. So you can kind of imprint whatever scary image you want on them.
Actually, not too unlike the that French movie Eyes Without a Face, actually, now that I think about it. All kinds of generic white masks in horror movies.
Yeah, indeed. And yeah, so that part happens, and he's just like, he just emerges from the shadows. There's no big jump scare. There's no big musical sting. It just happens, and then he is gone. And I think it's great. Like, I think you could probably watch that scene and not even notice he's there, maybe. I mean, he is like, he's in the shadows, and he does have that white mask, so it is like he's firmly there, but I do think that you could maybe miss him if you're not paying attention, but it is shot in a way where he does emerge and he's this bright figure in shadows, so you probably aren't going to miss him, but very scary scene. You like that scene, Sean Byron?
I like that scene. Unfortunately, I had the experience of watching this with my wife, and she caught it right before me. Like, my eyes were, I guess, focused on Liv Tyler at the time. You know, I'm sure you can't blame me. But she noticed it and she shrieked out, you know, and then I noticed. And so it was still a good moment. But if I had been kind of unspoiled for that 1 second and I had detected it myself, it might have landed differently. But I could imagine that scene playing really well in like a crowded theater, you know?
Yeah, that's how I saw it. I saw this movie when it first came out, and yeah, kind of, yeah, hearing that sort of like surround sound of screams when everybody realizes he's there kind of a thing was, yeah, that definitely happened. I'm glad that that's what ruined it for you, though, because that is also on the poster for the movie. Is that just a still from that scene? So
yeah.
So I'm glad that part didn't ruin it for you. I
do wish I had never seen these masks before, but that is something I had seen up until now, is somewhere in the marketing. I don't know if it was on the poster or just, you know, in general. I was aware of what these bad guys would look like, and maybe it would have been more impactful if I, you know, didn't know that already.
Yeah. They have these guys for whatever reason. I mean, this was a pretty popular movie. I have it written down here. It had a $9 million budget and it made $82 million. So it was like a pretty good hit. But these masks, I mean, they're still at Spirit Halloween stores. They've obviously made a couple of sequels that nobody saw, but yeah, I feel like these guys are kind of, the masks have become something of a Halloween staple, or at least masks that look like this.
$9 million budget, though, does seem a bit high for a movie like this. I mean, considering like Terrifier 3 is made for $2 million today. In 2008, you spent $9 million on this movie where it's one location and 3 actors and 2 people en masse.
There's, I think, in this entire movie, 8 people in the entire thing, I think. Yeah.
And not a lot of like crazy, you know, elaborate effects or anything.
Yeah, I was trying to think of where all the money went, and I think probably 2 places. One, Liv Tyler.
Yeah.
And 2, I mean, this was probably shot on film, which makes
Okay.
things a little pricey. But I did have that same thought where like, where did all the money go? Because it's just 5 people in a house. Like that's
Yeah, I
it.
mean, I guess Wilco's going to get some kind of a cut, but it's not going to be in the millions, I don't think.
Yeah, probably not. But there is that Merle Haggard song too that they play. Maybe that's where all the money goes.
Oh, greedy ass Merle Haggard.
That's what I always say about him. So then the boyfriend comes home. She's trying to explain to him that this is happening. He doesn't believe her, of course. And then that's when they amp up the terrifying nature of these things. Like they're getting in the house now. Both of their phones they've found destroyed throughout the house. They're writing like weird, creepy greetings on the wall, things like this. So like they're fully under attack.
This, by the way, was made at a time where people's approach to cell phone use was a little bit different. They would keep their cell phones like in their backpacks or whatever when they weren't using them, and instead of having them, attached to themselves at all times.
Yeah. Like I think one of them is like just charging like their phone. Like I think the guy sets his phone down like by the fireplace at one point. It's like I don't know. Yeah, everybody now would just have them in their pockets at all times. So it would be a little bit different. But so at one point they get a gun and they hole up in one of these rooms and they're like, hey, as soon as any of these bad guys come into this room, we're just shooting them right in the face. But this guy forgot that he called his friend to come pick him up and take him home because he was sad about getting his heart broken. So they accidentally shoot the friend in a very tense and spooky scene.
And even worse, it's Glenn from Always Sunny.
It is Glenn. That's one thing about this movie. Like the one thing that maybe doesn't hold up so great is the fact that, we have Glenn, who's like one of the funniest TV actors of the last 50 years, shows up in a very tense and dramatic scene. And so, if you know It's Always Sunny, you're like, what's Glenn doing here? And it kind of brings you out of it a little bit.
He's also an actor I feel like is very much identified with that one role. It's not a guy who I think of a million different things and, okay, I can just immediately buy him in a new role. He's kind of always just going to be Glenn to me.
Yeah, like with Liv Tyler, like she's very famous too to be in this. But you don't ever I don't think her being in it brings you out of it. I mean, also she's there from the beginning, so maybe that helps too. But because you know her from so many things. But Glenn is Glenn.
Yeah, and this is like a few years into Always Sunny, but I guess it probably was not, the massive, cultural icon then that it is now. And even if it was, I mean, guy's got to work. I'm sure, a paycheck's a paycheck. He's happy to work. He doesn't want to be typecast,
True. Yeah, I think It's Always Sunny had probably been on for like 2 or 3 years by this point, but it was not very watched at the beginning. So I imagine that people in 2008 probably weren't by and large thinking that it's Glenn, to whereas everybody now knows him.
Yeah. And certainly this James character wasn't thinking it was Glenn. He thought it was one of these strangers he was killing.
Yeah, which I love this scene because you always think that. Like you always think, when you watch Friday the 13th or something, like why don't they just grab the gun and sit in the closet and wait for somebody to walk by, wait for Jason to walk by. And they actually do that here in this movie, and it doesn't really work out.
Yeah, a little fantastical, though, if you ask me, because I'm pretty sure that all gun owners know that is the best way to defend your family, that there's never going to be any risk of, friendly fire. That doesn't, I mean, in movies, there's friendly fire, but,
Yeah, in real life, this plan would definitely work.
But, it's a fantasy. It's a horror movie. I can buy into it.
And then from there, the couple kind of starts unraveling and losing it, and they're trying to figure out a way to call for help. And it doesn't pan out. It doesn't end well for these people. We can kind of talk about the ending in a bit because I feel like the ending is deeply iconic. So I obviously love this movie. This is one of the very few movies that actually scares me when I watch it, like this and The Descent. And maybe Evil Dead.
And Event Horizon.
Event Horizon, of course.
The Shining?
Shining, yeah. Shining. in a lesser way. Like it's like an unsettling sort of scary.
Yeah. Alien?
I think, yeah, Alien to a certain degree. Alien kind of like, yeah, Alien. I would say Alien. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Not to the same degree though. I think, I mean, maybe because I've never seen Alien in the theater, but Strangers and The Descent are definitely the scariest times I've had in a movie theater.
Well, I never had that time in a movie theater because I never got a chance to see this theatrically. I remember it coming out, and I just did not get around to it. And, even at that time, I remember having interest. I remember friends of mine enjoying it. And it's a movie that's never really gone away for me. Like, I've always been meaning to get around to it. People mention it, now and again. And so I was excited at the prospect of watching this. It opens up with a text crawl that I guess is a reference to these events sort of happening to this writer director, in terms of it saying, inspired by true events. But I thought that was actually just an homage to Texas Chainsaw, the way that it opens, because you get this text crawl where it's like that orange text on the black background with a voice that sounds a lot like John Larroquette talking about brutal crimes and things like this. And I like that, like I thought it was just kind of that typical horror exploitation trick of like saying that something is real or based on true events, even if it maybe is or isn't. It just makes it seem scarier. And I approve of that technique. So, I like that opening text crawl. And as things kind of... go ahead.
Yeah, I agree that it is kind of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but yeah, I think like I said, it's like vaguely sort of based on the Manson family stuff, and then there's also that real serial killing. So like this isn't necessarily like a one-to-one of anything, but I do think it's very based on actual real stuff. So they get it both ways. They get to do the Texas Chainsaw homage, and they're not lying. So yeah, I think that.
Yeah, which is cool. It totally works for me. I got no problem with that. And as the movie starts and kind of introduces us to these two characters and their relationship struggles and stuff like that, I was a little bit concerned at first that this was going to be a who are the real strangers type of a thing. And it would be more about like, relationship drama or something. Thankfully, that kind of goes away pretty quickly and it becomes a horror movie. And I really liked how this movie delivers on simple scares, and it does so with just solid filmmaking. It's delivering a lot of these kinds of slasher movie type scenes that we've seen a million times before. It's not trying to reinvent the wheel, but he's solid with his camera work. The camera movements, especially, I thought were really good in this. And yeah, you get this nice sense of dread. There's cool looking trees in the front yard of the house that are kind of spooky looking. It feels kind of claustrophobic in this house. And, the way that the circumstances kind of escalate, a la Long Weekend or, Cheap Thrills even, was exciting. I felt like, okay, this is building, there are stakes, like, that as soon as the cell phone is like thrown in the fireplace, it's like, oh shit, that's another avenue that is now closed to these characters. And you start to wonder, like, how will they get out of this? Like, will they ever be able to put that damn carton of Bluebell ice cream from the dining room table back into the freezer, And so it's getting tense, and I'm getting into it. My wife's digging it. She kind of likes, I think, these more grounded true crime style horror movies. Those tend to be, generally more wife friendly. And I guess, my only complaint with this first half of the movie is the dialogue is super mumbly. And I don't know if this was a trick that they employed on purpose, that they were like trying to get me to turn my TV volume way up so that I would get jump scared later on.
Oh, yeah.
But normally I watch my movies at a TV volume of like 25. This was a 55. It was very mumbly.
I bet there's something to that. Like even just not on TV, although it works there too, but even in the theater, like if they're, because the movie's very quiet. Like there's a score to it, but it's very minimal, and a lot of times things are just pretty silent, like completely. So yeah, I think with them kind of whisper talking and mumble talking, it lures you into listening harder. So yeah, later on, when the jump scares do happen and they do start playing like the big musical stings with the jump scares, which they don't really do in the first half. Yeah, I bet that's by design.
Yeah, I think it might have been. I don't know that I like that approach, to be honest, but it was interesting. I think my favorite part of the movie, and big surprise here, was the set design. This house looks like the 1970s in a way that appeals to me. The kitchen has a bright yellow plastic dish rack that I thought looked very attractive. Also, Liv Tyler was good in this, I thought. I kind of wish that she had gotten her pack of cigarettes. I feel like she should have been stress smoking throughout this entire movie, but sadly, she only gets like one shot to smoke in this. She is shoeless throughout this entire movie, which makes me wonder if this might have been on Quentin Tarantino's top 10 of 2008. I'm guessing it must have been. But I guess that's a classic horror movie thing to make the final girl have to run around with no shoes on the entire movie. Oh, by the way, this is a fun fact that is of interest to maybe nobody, but my phone, throughout the course of me taking notes on this movie, kept auto-correcting Liv Tyler to Liverpool Tyler. I don't know why. I don't write about Liverpool. That's not like a word that should be in my buffer or whatever, but I guess Apple knew best. The other guy, Scott Speedman, was fine. I don't know. I don't really have many thoughts on him. He did okay in the role. I did think it was distracting to have Always Sunny Glenn show up. And then honestly, I think the movie does lose steam around the time of that scene. I think the way that they handled them accidentally killing him was really cool. Like it's this very quick shot where you see the gunshot. And I thought that was like, jarring in the right way. But then they spend like a full, I feel like 2 minutes mourning the guy. And it almost borders into like parody territory. You know what I'm talking about? They're like crying over this guy that I've never met before, that I've got no connection to, that I just know is a guy that was going to pick up Scott Speedman.
Yeah, through dialogue, we're told that Scott Speedman and Glenn are best friends, but yeah, we're not shown that. So yeah, if you don't feel the emotion of it, then that's understandable, I guess. But I don't know. That didn't bother me.
I don't know. I was like put off by how long they were crying over this dude. And I get it. It's like you just killed your friend, but also take a break from crying. Try to get the fuck out of this house and maybe run to your neighbor's house or something. And then I felt like after that, after the air had been kind of let out of the balloon via all this mourning of Glenn, I just felt like the rest of the movie didn't fully click for me. A lot of the rest of it just felt like rehashes of earlier moments from this movie, not even just earlier moments from other slasher movies, but it felt like it started to repeat itself. And I don't know, I felt like there was a lack of surprise all the way up until the ending, which I think we should talk about the ending of this movie in detail.
Okay, well, I do want to mention one thing about Glenn's death. Another great thing that they do about it, you mentioned like how quick it is and how quick the cut is, which I like. But they also misdirect you because right before he gets shot, the killer is behind him, like sneaking up on him with an axe. So you're like, watch out, Glenn, don't get axed to death. And then he gets shot in the face. And I think that's a really good misdirect that's really well directed, especially for like a first time director to kind of get those tricks and stuff. So
Yeah,
I just wanted to.
I liked all that build up as well. And for me, that's where the movie peaks, is like as soon as Glenn's shot in the face, it's like, oh shit, whoa, like, you know, the stakes are high. But then the reaction, I don't know, it felt too maudlin to me. And then from there, I was just like, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm good with the reaction, but I do agree that the second half is not as good as the first half. Like, I think this movie's only 86 minutes long. Like if it was 79, I think that would have probably helped out the movie a bit. Because yeah, it does lose steam as it goes on a little bit. But yeah, so we're gonna spoil the ending.
Yeah. Let's spoil this ending. I think you can get this movie pretty easily on the internet, though, if you do want to watch it. And yeah. I would give it I think I give it a mild recommend. I got some problems with this ending that we'll talk about, but you know what? How often do you get a decent slasher movie? It's not every year, especially in 2008. So I think this is worth a watch.
Okay. Yeah. I like it a great deal. But okay. So yeah, now we're going to spoil it. So the couple gets caught, and I'm a little surprised to hear you got some issues with this ending, because I feel like the ending's very good. But yeah, so the couple gets caught, and the three killers are just like, you know, we got you. We're going to kill you. And Liv Tyler's like, why are you doing this? And she's like, because you were home. And that's that. You know, we don't really have a reason to do what we're doing. And so they stab the couple. And the couple's like telling each other that they love each other while they're dying. It's a very emotional moment. And then the killers just take off their masks and just leave. And there's like some little dialogue at the end that next time will be easier, which I think is kind of spooky. And then that's that. But then there's a very ending that I don't like. So maybe that's part of what your issue is with it. But I think that the line, because you were home, has become pretty iconic. They use that in, I think, both subsequent movies. And I think, I don't know, I just see it like pop up in horror memes a lot. And also it happens during the daytime, which like that scene is like very brightly lit. And I think that makes it a little scarier. Like the doors open too. Like these people are just like balls out. They don't even care at this point. Like the sun's out, the door's open. They're killing these people. It also means that like this movie starts at about 4:00 in the morning, they say. And so this movie's pretty much taking place in real time, which I think is interesting. Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah. I like this. I like this ending for the most part. You got some issues with it?
Well, I mean, we could talk real quick first about the very, very ending, which is a very stupid jump scare where Liv Tyler is apparently not dead, and she comes back to life to spook the kids that, you know, found her thinking that she was dead. That was dumb, right? Like, what does that contribute to the movie other than undercutting the ending that you just delivered? I don't know.
I agree. Yeah, there's like this kind of bookend where two children find the bodies, which I think is something that happened in real life, and that those murders that happened here in California that this is sort of possibly based on. So I think that's a real life part of it, is that kids found the bodies. But she lets out a scream at the end, which I don't like. I don't like it. And like, I like the nihilistic minimalist, like they just drive off planning another set of murders ending rather than this jump scare ending. So
it's so jarring that I almost wonder, like, was that a studio note? Did they have to reshoot that because of test screenings or something? Like, it doesn't feel like that was where the movie was going. But I
think so. I remember reading at some point like that the studio thought this was going to make money, so they wanted to put that in there, like just in case they needed a sequel. But when I was, you know, earlier doing a little bit of research, I couldn't find that anywhere, but I remember reading that at some point. So I don't know, maybe I'm making it up because I couldn't find it this time, but I seem to remember that being a thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but even besides that, all of this business leading up to it, where it's, the reason was because you were home, I was not so into that scene. And the reason is, I mean, who else could it have been but complete strangers? Like, the problem with this movie is that it tries to play the identity of these killers as a mystery when there are no other characters in the movie who it could be. There are only, this boyfriend and girlfriend, and then Glenn shows up in the third act and gets killed promptly. But it's not like there's the butler with the funny mustache. Could it be him? Or it couldn't be anybody. It could only be the strangers who are, you give it away in the title. You're telling me it's going to be just be strangers. So then why even, and I don't think it's just me imagining it. I think this movie is trying to create an air of mystery around what that reveal is going to be when they finally take their masks off. Otherwise, why even have them take their masks off and give the little speech about it was just because you were home? I don't know. I don't get it.
I don't know. I mean, I've seen this movie so many times that I couldn't begin to think of it as a mystery. Well, I don't know what I thought the first time, but yeah.
Don't you think they try to play it where you could think presumably it's the boyfriend for a while? They have him disappear for long stretches, during the times when Liv Tyler is getting attacked. That's like a classic, slasher movie cue that maybe this guy's the killer. And, the fact that she just turned him down when he proposed marriage to her or whatever. There's all these little hints of like, oh, could it be him? But they also blow that immediately because, like, as soon as they're being attacked by these strangers, he points a shotgun right at one of them and shoots straight at one of them through a door. Ultimately doesn't hit the person, but once you see that, you're like, okay, I know this guy is not in league with these strangers or anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think that by then you probably should have realized that it's not a mystery. I don't think that they're trying to play it as mystery. I think that the reveal of them saying, we did this because you were home is, you would probably expect, oh, we did this because we want your money, or, oh, we're Satanists that are creepy, or like, we're
maybe
robbing
I might presume that in a movie where anything was set up that could suggest that, or in a movie that was not just called The Strangers. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like they put like I feel like they're so proud of this reveal and like, oh, isn't it so such a subversion of expectations that we've got this nihilist villain in this. But I feel like that was obvious from minute 10 of this movie. Like, it could never have been anything else, to the point of like, you're wasting my time with this reveal,
Well, I mean, yeah, but it's also not, I mean, they just say, I mean, it's not like a big Scooby-Doo reveal. Like, they're just kind of making conversation while they stab these people to death. So I don't think it's like supposed to be like a big thing. It's just like a little creepy moment and a little creepy line.
Yeah.
There was the original ending of this was that they take their masks off and we see the people like fully, and then they do the stabbing, and then they like, with their masks off, just like clean up the house and then leave. But then they decided against that. So I don't know if that's better or worse. I kind of like not seeing their faces, but do you think you would have enjoyed that version more?
Probably not. I mean, I don't think so.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't really. I mean, if they weren't set up or anything, I guess it doesn't really matter either way. They're still strangers, but
I feel like what we're left with is like, it's an all right slasher movie that I think has some technical competence and is like made decently, especially for the first half. But the only thing that I feel like this movie has that people say sets it apart from the others is this kind of angle of like, well, but they were totally strangers, and like, isn't that crazy? And I just don't think it's that crazy. I think that's most slasher movies, you know. It's not like Leatherface is going around like giving his big motivation for killing, you know, teens or whatever. He just does it because, you know, he's a killer, you know.
Well, and him and his family are making chili and stuff like that. Like, there's always some kind of a motive. So the fact that these people have none, I do think is somewhat novel.
Well, but their motive is that they want to, that they're having a fun time killing, presumably. I mean, just the same motive that, you know, Mickey and Mallory from Natural Born Killers, or, you know, any other spree killing movie tends to have. But
Well, I mean, possibly, but there's that line at the end where the one tells the other that next time it will be easier. So, I mean, maybe they're not having fun at all.
all right, well, neither was I by the end of this.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Well, I think there was something else in my notes.
You were going to compare this favorably to Funny Games, a movie that I think it shares some similarities with.
They're very similar. This one plays it straight, and I think Funny Games' thesis statement is that this movie is evil. So, yeah, it is. I don't know when the original Funny Games came out in like the 90s, but I don't know when that remake came out. Probably around the same time. So it is interesting that they're so similar, but sort of, yeah, very opposed to one another thematically.
Yep, Funny Games 2007.
Oh, yeah, interesting. Yeah, that is pretty interesting. But yeah, they are pretty similar in terms of plot and stuff. But yeah, so this Bryan Bertino, after doing this movie, he wrote the sequel, which came out like 10 years ago and is not great. And then he also directed a movie called The Monster, which I think is pretty good. It's kind of similar to this, where it's like a mother and daughter, like their car breaks down in the woods and there's something in the woods, and it's very sort of minimalist like this, and I think very enjoyable. And he also did this found footage movie called Mockingbird, which is kind of like a Saw movie about a killer clown. It's not great. And he also did The Dark and the Wicked, which I have not seen, but kind of interesting that he hasn't had a more prolific career, because I mean, this was a big hit, and yeah, so I don't know what's going on with him.
Yeah, well, but he's still doing his thing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's still working. He puts out a movie like once every few years, once every like four
It's
years.
more than it's more than you put out, right?
Well, I guess that's true. But I mean, I just mean like for a guy who made, you know, $100 million movie, Ty West has never done that, and he makes a movie every 6 months, you know? The guys like these, like they're out here working all the time. Your Adam Wingards get to do the Blair Witch and Godzilla remakes, you know? Like, it's kind of just a little surprised he hasn't had like a big career.
Well, now that we've given him his spotlight, maybe, you know, fortune will shine on this feller.
I think it's very possible. Also, the sequels are bad. Don't see those, Sean.
Okay, I won't. I was not, you know, really at risk of making that mistake, but thank you for urging me not to.
Yeah, please don't. Unless you're a big Christina Hendricks fan. She's in part 2, so maybe there's some reasons to see that one.
Ba boom.
Exactly. So what are we going to be talking about in 2 weeks? Kevin's going to be with us next week. But in 2 weeks, I assume we're probably going to be watching a movie with Christina Hendricks in it.
I think so. I think that's a fair assumption. Let me look at the cast. Okay, do I see Christina Hendricks? Okay, we've got Zelda Rubinstein.
Interesting.
You know her.
I know her. She's she helped Carol Ann into the light, right?
Yeah. We've got Mako. You know Mako? Not the shark, but the actor, Mako.
I think so.
He was in Conan the Barbarian. He played the wizard.
Wizard?
Yeah, he's a Japanese guy.
Oh, okay.
You've seen him in a bunch of stuff. That bigot-ass Billy Barty's in this movie.
Billy Barty? I'm looking through Mako's filmography. He's made like 300 movies, so it's hard to whittle these down.
Yeah, Mako got busy. Carrie Fisher is in this movie. Chevy Chase is in this movie. This movie is Under the Rainbow from 1981. This is the movie about the making of Wizard of Oz, but not really. It's mostly just about the Munchkins.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. I've heard about this movie. It is in my watch list, and I've been wanting to see it.
Yeah, I've never seen it. Everybody says it's pretty bad. It probably will be pretty bad, but I think it is hopefully in the area of like interesting curio that's still fun to watch despite it being bad.
Yeah. I mean, it's the director of Can't Buy Me Love and Son-in-Law, so can't be all bad because those are masterpieces.
Steve Rash, the Rash Man.
Yeah. Okay.
So there you go. Yeah. Under the Rainbow, 1981.
Perfect. And then next week with Kevin, our big Halloween extravaganza, we will be doing the Boulet Brothers Halfway to Halloween variety special. And which movie are you doing again?
Well, there's a 98% chance I'm doing 976 Evil.
Okay.
But I am still open to changing that. So probably there's not enough time between now and when we next record. But if anybody hears this and wants to recommend things that I should pick for our Schlocktober episode on Discord, I will accept recommendations on Discord, but only on Discord.
Okay. Yeah. Kevin hasn't picked his movie yet, so that means that it's still open. We can only lock in our picks when all three of us have chosen, so it's possible I might change mine too. So
yeah.
But
there's still time for you to change it to 976 Evil Part 2.
That's true. And that would screw Kevin over so bad because there's no 976 Evil Part 3.
Do you think they should have called it 977 Evil? Would that have been more clever?
I think so, yeah.
I don't.
Well, no. Because then because the 976 number, like if you call it 977, nobody would understand the reference.
What even is a 976 number? Is that a thing? I know what a 555 is.
I think it was like 1-900 before they had 1-900.
Oh, so it's horny.
I think so, yeah.
Okay, now I'm definitely picking this movie.
All right, I'm glad to hear that. And I'm definitely picking the Boulet Brothers. It's on Shudder. It's a fun old-timey variety show.
Sweet. And Kevin Moss is picking a total mystery.
The Strangers Part 2.
Not that kind of mystery.
He's locked in. All right. Well, that wraps it up. If you would like to listen to this episode, I guess you'll have to go to patreon.com/junkfooddinner for now. But you probably already know that, I guess, if you're listening to this. While you're there at Patreon, I promise you this isn't just a clever marketing ploy, but you can throw us a couple of dollars and listen to hundreds of bonus episodes of Junk Food Dinner, and also a lot of the Bookhouse Boys, lots of stuff over there. You can find us in that aforementioned Discord. The link should be on Facebook at facebook.com/junkfooddinner.
Boom.
Or if you're a Patreon member, you automatically get put into the Discord if you have your Discord account attached to your Patreon account, which makes it very easy. What else is there? Oh, give us a call at 347-746-JUNK. That's 347-746-5865. It's not a 900 number. Mm-hmm. Leave us some voicemails. Tell us how you're doing this Halloween. Tell us how sad you are that these episodes are hard to find this year because of Archive being hacked. I guess that's everything. So until next time, this is Parker for Sean saying thanks for having fun.